The front office is coming together. The coaching staff is coming together. The 40-man roster is coming together. All sorts of moves, all happening on Friday, the 1st of December. But the main question that has to be asked, and I'm going to answer, is do the Marlins have the hottest, sexiest front office and coaching staff ever assembled? I think yes. This is Locked On Marlins.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings from England and welcome to Locked On Marlins. It's your daily Marlins podcast. I am your host, Peter Pratt. Hit me up, of course, on X at Miami Marlins _UK. If you are listening to the pod, of course, hit subscribe, leave a review. Of course, this is your team every day, and thanks for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. This is a breaking news episode. There's so much news to break. There could have been at least 3 emergency pods today, but I've bundled them all together. We're having a single emergency podcast, kind of anyway, with a slight delay. There is a YouTube channel as well, guys. Don't forget about that. It is also called Locked On Marlins, so make sure you hit subscribe over there too and join the comments. The everydayers, that is where they hang out, is in the comments on YouTube, no doubt. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And guys, there is a lot to get into today. Firstly, before we get into anything, I'm feeling a touch better. You may be able to sense that. I have rested up most of today as well, but I'm definitely feeling more human than I was yesterday. Yesterday, it was like dug up. I was like fully dug up doing this podcast yesterday. I was not in a good space, but I'm feeling better. I thank everyone in the YouTube comments as well for all the get well soon messages. I don't know what's been going on this week, but this like cold has been lingering all week. But I'm hoping that I've just turned the corner, primarily because today is Friday, and this is how sick I've been all week, by the way. This is how you can tell. I have not had one glass of wine all week. That's a sign. However, tomorrow night, me and my wife, Tara, we have a big event planned. We're off out for some big couples event. I don't really know what's going to go on, but it's like £90 a ticket. I'm expecting huge things for £90 a ticket, and I need to be there. I need to be there to realize the value of that £90 a ticket. I'm hoping there's like loads of champagne, a load of red wine, including in that price, but we'll wait to see. I don't know what is included, but I need to be there. So I'm hoping a corner's been turned. Okay, that being said, let's get into it, guys. There's tons to get into, and the news started with the announcement. Well, it's not an official announcement, but the reporting from Craig Mish, who else, that Gabe Kapler will be joining the Marlins front office as an assistant GM. Firstly, we have to say, how many assistant GMs can one organization have? This is what I love. Like Peter Bendix now, he just keeps loading up on assistant GMs. We may have no catchers. Doesn't matter. We don't need any catchers, but we need 97 assistant GMs. But what I would say is for Gabe Kapler, I did see that he was interviewing a few months back I think he was interviewing with the Red Sox for their vacancy. At the time, I wondered if there was a fit there, Gabe Kapler and the Marlins in some sort of way. Nevertheless, it ends up happening. Didn't get the top job of president of baseball ops, but ends up as an assistant GM, joining the staff. And it feels like, reading between the lines anyway, I haven't seen like the official announcement or heard from Gabe Kapler or Peter Bendix directly, but the sense is this is going to be a director or, I don't know, assistant director or something, director of something within player development. That's going to be maybe the focus area that Gabe Kapler will have. It's a focus area that he had back with the Dodgers. And when you look back in terms of the number of players that are still around now and big-time players, there's definitely an overlap there on that one. He was with them in that kind of role from 2014 through to 2017, I believe. So good couple of years there with the Dodgers in that director of player development role. One of the interesting things when you kind of dig into that and the feedback as well, it's like the changes that he made at the time was he took all junk food out of the clubhouse. So it's as the story goes, all junk food was taken out, and they were only able to serve organic food. Love to see it. This is back in 2014. This is like 10 years ago. No junk food and organic only. Big time. He's a big proponent of advanced statistics, healthy food. I mean, this sounds again like a perfect fit for the Marlins, and like the type of guy maybe that Skip Schumacher is as well. So, I think from a Marlins perspective, this feels like a great hire. It's obviously a great name in many ways, but I feel like Gabe's going to focus more in the player development space, moving away from obviously the management roles that he's had, over the past 4, 5, 6 seasons, whatever it might be, with the Phillies and also with the Giants. I feel like as well there's a good fit here where he's definitely of the mindset that's the analytically driven mindset, which again is going to be a great fit for this organization. It makes a ton of sense, and he's not afraid to push the ticket, consider new ideas, etc., etc. And so this is at the core now for the Marlins. It's looking to gain every edge and every opportunity by thinking creatively, thinking smart, being smart. And, Gabe Kapler, I think, fits that profile perfectly. We'll wait to see what the official announcement is, what the role will entail, but let's assume at this point it is player development focused, and we'll leave the other areas for the 96 other assistant GMs that may be within the organization at this point. My overall reaction is good hire, though. I like this move. I like the way Peter Bendix is structuring things. I like the type of guys he's getting into the organization. I don't believe there's any overlap or any previous connection between Peter Bendix and Gabe Kapler in terms of, workplace overlap or anything along those lines. So, interested to see how this, came about. But yeah, it feels like a win for the Fish, which is a good thing. The Marlins have also, I believe at this point, rounded out their coaching staff heading into 24. I believe now all vacancies have been filled. And we're going to cover that after the first ad. And also the Marlins have added another arm to their 40-man. They have made another claim on the waiver wire, and they have added another pitcher. Surprise, surprise. They are going pitcher heavy. They're going to go one catcher, and they're going to go 19 relievers this year, the Marlins, the way they're structuring this roster. But we'll talk about that shortly. Before we do that, it's time to let you know about our good friends over at FanDuel. And of course, as the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. I almost read the wrong script. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use and has a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, guys, you're back here with me, Peter Pratt. On Friday, the 1st of December, Advent calendars have been cracked. Thank you also for people letting me know that Advent calendars are a thing in the States. I assume they would be, but some people did say it feels like a dying art in the US. Not good. Not good. Do the kids not want chocolate in the mornings? Come on, America. They must do. Nevertheless, my son was very happy this morning opening up his Advent calendar. 1st of December, the chocolate came out in the shape of a gingerbread man. He was very happy. He ate it all in one bite. It was just like straight in and demolished. He was enjoying that, no doubt. So, what about on the hitting coach side? As we know, Brant Brown ended up taking a role with the Mariners, which was effectively a promotion. I think it was a bench coach role for Brant Brown. This the interesting part is that Skip Schumacher was on with the Fish on First guys a few weeks back. And got talking about this topic area. And so the news in this area, I'd say, is not a huge surprise, primarily because Skip was kind of alluding to this already. And the news really is that John Mabry is going to be effectively replacing Brant Brown. Mabry was part of the organization last year and part of the hitting crew. And Skip was talking about this to say that he'd spoken to a lot of the guys, and the feedback was that they liked a lot of what Mabry did. He thinks about the game and this approach in a very similar way to Brant Brown. And so this kind of makes sense. Brant Brown had his own way. Mabry's maybe cut from the same cloth. Bit of a continuation here because, frankly, the Marlins have kind of struggled in this area for many, many years. And it did feel like most guys took a step forward last year, whereas in previous years it felt like collectively guys seemingly were all taking a step backwards at the same time. So I think that's a good decision. Effectively replacing then John Mabry will be Bill Mueller, who will also join the staff as an assistant hitting coach, as reported by Craig Mish and Christina DiNicola. So I believe their coaching staff anyway, is filled, unless obviously anyone else gets sniped for any other roles. But at the moment, we're not expecting that. Skip Schumacher as well, speaking about this situation, again, with the Fish on First guys. If you haven't listened to that, please go and check it out. It's a great interview with Skip. But Skip calling out to say, listen, this is just par for the course, and is actually, it's a good indication in some ways. Like, you want other clubs to be hunting after your staff. That shows that you're doing things in the right way. And I'd say the Marlins staff in general last year, it felt like they nailed it. It was a big part of their success. Obviously, Mel's been there for a long time, but from a hitting perspective and Brant Brown and that group, it felt like things definitely move forwards. John Jay as well, obviously a big part of like helping Jazz to transition to center field, which ended up being ultra successful. And then, thinking about Jody Reed as well. How about Jody Reed, like breaking his leg midway through the year and then coming back, I think, as well. So, the staff is filled out now. I think that helps just to kind of, now everyone's got their roles. You know who's back, who's not back. You can then start to plan more effectively now. So I think that's going to be a good thing for Skip now, just to kind of get his head, into planning ahead for spring, et cetera, et cetera. And as well, with this front office being filled out, it's going to start to understand, okay, directionally, organizationally, how are we piecing this all together? How is it going to look and feel for, like, not just for 24, but looking ahead to the next 3 years as well? And how do they make things happen? And really, when we think back to like the priority here for the Marlins, it is around drafting more effectively and developing more effectively. That's at the heart of the changes that have been made by Bruce Sherman. Bruce Sherman has identified the gap in the organization, hence why he called out to Kim, I'm going to go and get someone else in to help you and build up this other area. Kim wasn't happy with that. We moved on. Okay. But that's the primary driver. That was the primary driver for these changes, was we have to draft more effectively. We have to sign international players more effectively, and we have to develop everyone more effectively, particularly the offensive guys. The pitchers, we know it's been a positive area of this Marlins organization for some years, no doubt. So, speaking of pitching, the Marlins have added another arm to the 40-man. They have claimed Caleb Ort off of waivers from the Seattle Mariners, albeit when I went to look at his stats for last year, I realized he actually was pitching for the Red Sox. So he's pitched a couple of years with the Red Sox. It's fair to say his numbers are not that appealing when both in 2022 and 23. They look kind of similar, actually, to be honest with you. When you look at his 2022 body of work, he had a 1-2 record with a 6.35 ERA over 28 1/3 innings. In 2023, 1-2 record, exactly the same, 6.26 ERA, so a tick lower than 2022 in slightly less innings, 23 innings of work. The whip last year was 157, with the prior year was 176. Overall, you could not get excited about any of these numbers. I think fundamentally he throws the ball hard, but other than that, you have to look at these numbers and consider what role or future he may have here with the Marlins. I'm not sure on that. I guess one thing I haven't checked out, which I should have done before this pod started if I'd have prepared really fully, so I apologize for that, is what number of minor league options Caleb Ort has. Considering he's appeared in 3 major league campaigns, looking at the numbers here, there's a good chance he may now be out of minor league options. Let's see if I can quickly work this out on the fly. Because, again, that's another interesting one. Is this guy going to be a stash guy? Or is this going to be someone that is going to come in, compete for a roster spot, and maybe a waive DFA candidate as well at the back end? So let's work out where we're up to here on the fly. If I can't work it out, I'll cover it on the next episode with Caleb Ort. So no, I can't see it off. I'm just quickly on roster resource, but I can't see him yet. So I will cover that next time around. I'm not clear, but my gut feel is maybe out of options, considering there's 3 major league appearances for him in his career. But nevertheless, the Marlins, they keep on adding these arms. This is the funny thing with the Marlins here. They just keep adding arm after arm after arm. And they definitely need some of these roster spots for at least one catcher. They can't go with just a single catcher on the roster. So, as I already mentioned, though, Sandy definitely will go hit the 60-day IL. Sixto may do also. So there's guys that may well be moved off the roster, as I mentioned a few days ago as well. But, it's an interesting approach. It does feel very raised, doesn't it? I think that's the funny thing, is like they just keep scooping up these arms that, no one wants. The next thing is, hopefully they turn into studs. So, I'm certainly not going to question it. I can look at Caleb Ort's stats now and say, doesn't look like he's serviceable, doesn't look any good by the numbers. Frankly, I trust Mel to do, work miracles, frankly. And so, if there's some talent there they've identified in some sort of way, great, let's see it. And I guess this is the start of the journey, guys, right? Where these guys are getting scooped up, names added, and you're thinking, what value is there here? They're probably, it's hard to see at this point. It's hard to see what value there could be, but it feels very raised, and that's the way things are shaping up here, I'd say. So busy news day. Gabe Kapler in. Some hitting coach adjustments. Mabry is being promoted. Basically a continuation of last year. Mueller added to as an assistant hitting coach, which is good. And Caleb Ort added to the 40-man claimed offer waivers from the Seattle Mariners after spending his season last year and a few seasons prior to that with the Red Sox. So I think that's going to cover us for today on a relatively brief and breezy episode on Friday. I will be back on Monday, guys, and Sean Barrett, I hope, will be back on Monday as we can dig into all of the news and reaction over the past week's worth of action, that's for sure. I'm interested to get Sean's take on Gabe Kapler in particular. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well in YouTube. Let me know what you're thinking on this hire. Like I mentioned, though, when we sit back and reflect on this one, the Marlins now unquestionably have the sexiest front office and management team going. Does that matter? I think it does. And, Skip Schumacher, Gabe Kapler, Peter Bendix, let's throw him in there. I mean, Sandy Alcantara, Tommy Hutton's in the booth. Like I mentioned, there's just studs everywhere. And I'm not sure Tara's going to be allowed to go to Miami anytime soon, to be honest with you. But guys, are going to wrap it up there. Appreciate you making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day and joining me on Friday, the 1st of December. Happy December to everyone. Hope you've enjoyed your Advent calendars. No wine for me, but hopefully there'll be wine tomorrow for this event I'm going to. And I look forward to seeing everyone again next week.